make your way down the cavern, and you come to a rickety bridge. The rope that is suspending this bridge is rotting. Vines have encroached upon the framework of it. What do you guys do?
I'll go first. I take a rope out and I'll just hold on to it because I'm not wearing armor. I'm very lightly armored. So I'll go over it first. I'll tie it off when I get to the other side, and then you come over it second and you use the rope as support. So I will gingerly, carefully go across the bridge.
Can I get a reflex save? As your foot begins to snap under you, you flick the support to the opposite foot, grounding yourself, and the pieces of wood snap and fall down onto the rushing river below. Here it's about 60 feet.
So I've left Jasper a rope.
I think that he would have been holding the other end of the rope in case, as he was going across. When you're on the other side, you can do the same for me. Seeing that you've gotten there, Jasper's going to look across. All right, hold on. I'll cross this one step at a time. He's going to step lightly across.
Knowing what's coming, Jasper, you just sprint across, and when the board breaks underneath your foot, your next foot is already on the next board, so it doesn't even matter. And you sprint across the bridge.
Marec will tie up his rope and throw it back in his backpack. And we don't know where along this bridge this thing is. We just know that its nest is somewhere along this river.
Uzos told you it is on the eastern side. That's all he said.
I'm gonna head down this way. I have my falchion drawn. I am moving quietly.
Jasper's drawn his weapons. Jasper will be creeping along. If I need to, I will make a stealth check.
You can go ahead and make a stealth check. Be careful, Marec. That is an edge.
I'll make a stealth check as well.
So I think Jasper is remembering the last time, being slowly so that he can see what's at his feet, make sure we're not going to stumble on any spider webs or any weird stuff.
Make a perception check from everyone. As you're walking down the path that you're on, you can hear a shuffling coming from behind you. When you turn to look at it, you see dozens of spiders ranging in size, some the garden variety tarantula, some the size of like a Yorkshire Terrier, up in these webbings right here, begin to shuffle upwards into the recesses of the caverns and out of sight. Marec, so in the light of the torch that you're holding, you see this glittering in the air in front of you, right over here, and you remember the mushroom spores on the western side of this ravine.
I think that seeing them, he will backtrack, come back this way. Spores up that way, too thick to pass through.
Spiders down here, crawled upwards. I don't think they're gone, but are at least not going to bother us immediately. We should take it slow here.
Let's head up the way we can.
Right behind you.
So as you continue along, the sound of the river gets louder, and you come to a dead end on the side here.
So pick up poison, right? Spiders, spores.
I can kill spiders.
Some though were pretty hefty, and he holds his hand out and gestures like, this is a small dog sized thing. I think my lord had a dog as big as one of the spiders. The spores we might be able to run through if we cover our mouths.
Maybe. Or we could go get dinner.
I don't think Hope would appreciate that.
Hope can't appreciate anything right now.
Oh yeah, I'm not invested either way. They both sound like fantastically terrible ways to die.
We'll try it your way first.
Right. So he's gonna reach into his pack, pull out some of the cloth that he wears. He's just gonna take the white shirt that he wears, like the extra white shirt, probably the gross one at this point. This is probably the one he wore when he was injured. He hasn't had a chance to wash it. He's gonna take it and sort of tie it over his face and pull it tight like a neckerchief. Bring his hand up over his nose and get ready to brave the spores.
Marec doesn't have any extra cloth that he has, so he will just tear off the sleeve of his shirt, wrap that around his face, and he's going to cover his mouth and hold his breath when they run through.
Knowing it is ahead of you, can I get survival checks from both of you?
I'm going to spend 0 point. That's worse.
I'm gonna re-roll that with one of my hero points.
You both got a 3 on your rerolls. Okay.
Go down to fucking spores.
You begin making your way towards the colony of white mushrooms that are growing out of the walls. Can I get a fortitude save from both of you? You hurry your step and you hold your breath and you are safe.
Hold on. Not be too hasty with this. spiders might still be around, scuttled upwards. I didn't kill any.
Can I get a perception check from you, Jasper?
Let's go!
Natural 20, baby. As you are passing through, trying to keep not too far behind Marec, something catches your eye in the room off to the east. Something over by this large spider web that seems to stretch from the floor to the ceiling. It looks like something metal, maybe? Something shiny, housed in this webbing.
Wait up for a moment. There's something back here.
I'll go backtrack.
Shine your light this way. See if I can spot what this is. And he's keeping his eyes out for any traps or anything else.
Because you said that, give me a perception check.
My life for treasure.
You can almost make out where it is from where you are. It's like literally like housed in webbing.
Odd. Oh, take a look. Gonna draw his blades a bit close, then gonna try to cut some of the webbing away.
Sure, give me an attack roll.
I'm gonna double slice it just for the fun of it.
With a flick of your swords, the housing around this something disappears in a flash of torchlight caught on the blades, and this statuette is revealed. It's an elf from the waist up, beautiful form, long hair covering anything gratuitous, a crown that erupts out of their temples, and this kind of quasi-halo, but instead of it being horizontal, it's vertical and it's on the top. There seems to be a gemstone set into that. And that's the first thing that catches your eye because of the torchlight. And then you take a moment to look down the statue, and you see that from the hips, it begins to change form into a very much more sinister, spindly-legged arachnid with a second mouth where the stomach of the woman meets the spider form.
This is clearly not a Latvian history kind of thing. Could I attempt a religion check to see if I could identify this?
It seems to have some sort of religious significance in that the depiction has a lot of effort put into it. And the gemstone, it has this symbolism that seems to transcend the material. Even though you don't know exactly what it is, you are quite taken with the deep purple glow.
Well, explains the spiders a little more. I wonder if it has some sort of power over them. I'm no mage. I wouldn't know. Looks over at Marec. What do you think? Take what we can?
Might as well.
He's gonna reach down, grab a stick off the ground, sort of use it to push some of the spider webbing off of it. Make sure it's not like attached to anything, hanging off a rope. And then he's just gonna reach over with his sword and pluck it out. The whole statue. He's not gonna rip the gemstone out. Unless this is like prohibitively large. I'm assuming this is a statuette only like about this big.
I would say it's like a desk item.
He'll take it.
Give me reflex saving throws, the both of you. The second that your sword touches the statuette comes a chittering, and the sound of dozens, if not hundreds, of hungry mouths begins pouring forth. Those same spiders come flooding out of the wall. And roll me initiative. The flood of spiders begins to emerge. Jasper, you go first. If you don't spend at least an action moving, you're going to take damage at the end of your turn.
That is perfectly fine. Seeing this thing, Jasper's going to shout, "Watch out!" and immediately double slice.
Ooh, beautiful, a critical hit. Let's go.
Mwah, you gotta love it.
Jasper, you stop it as soon as it starts.
I feel like Jasper's seeing these things coming out of the wall. The second he sees them, he's just going to take his blade, draw it, and as opposed to just slashing, he's going to use the flat of it like just one big as they all pour out. And then sort of plug the hole in the wall, almost kind of like someone bordering a brick wall.
The tide of spiders ceases, and what you don't kill with those initial two swings recede back from whence they came very quickly. You can see something within.
Okay, my curiosity sated. Let's get the hell out of this room.
A bit more cautiously, maybe. You continue your way into a second segment of river.
Marec eyes up the river.
It's about 80 feet down where you're at now.
Yeah, but it's only about 12 feet across. Marec is going to take a couple steps back, and he is going to turn the land around here.
Okay. No problem. You have the strength score. You don't need to roll.
Without saying a word, he just leaps over.
You continue on to find that the crystals here, a bit different shaded than the ones that you'd seen before. As well, the rope bridge has already collapsed about halfway across.
How sturdy does the rope look?
I would say that the ambient humidity has been seeping into them for a very long time, which suits a dual purpose. The water content in it will take some of the strain. However, with time, it has also rotted and degraded the rope. So it's kind of hard to tell.
Something tells me jumping over this one might not be as smart an idea. Tell me, you have a grappling hook in there?
I do.
He reaches in his pack and pulls out one. I think we were going to get our money's worth out of these today. He starts cinching it up to see if he can make a line across.
We both have 50 feet worth of rope.
Give me a athletics check. Oh yeah, that's a crit.
Go!
That is just shy of a crit, but that is also a success. So both of y'all throw your hooks. They swing around, I'd say, this wall and cinch, pulling tight. Marec, you can feel the pillar like kind of give for a little bit and rock, and then like a boulder that is like a part of the ceiling kind of judders down, and it more stably rests into a position. That grappling hook is secure.
Awesome.
I imagine this is very much the Indiana Jones across style kind of moment.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, we're over here doing Indiana Jones.
You swing across the river and make your way to the other side. Can I get perception checks from both of you? Jasper, the sound of the river rushing below, just kind of echoing off the stone around you, covers any other sound you might be able to hear. Marec, you very much find the same thing, however. The scent of better, awful, rotting carcasses billows from the south.
Marec literally turns up and goes, I think we're going in the right direction.
Well, I guess we'll follow your nose. Again, Jasper is doing his best to keep an eye out for any traps or anything he might see on the ground.
Actually, while we're out here, no, I'll leave the torch. I don't have a fast way of relighting it.
For a second, before you go any further, my friend, you had something you want us to drink before we attack this thing?
The numbing tonic that adds 2 temporary hit points at the start of each round.
Yeah, that.
You pass through more spores as you walk by, and only after does it occur to you that it appears you're inoculated.
Am I getting any closer to the source of the rotting smell?
Oh, it is becoming overwhelming, Marec. Mortal Coil is sponsored by Birdie Maps. Whether you need a top-of-the-line dungeon for a long-form campaign, a coherent series for a one-shot, or something non-specific for a random encounter, Birdie has everything you could possibly need for your fantasy TTRPG. A common problem you run into sourcing maps online is if they're too small, it can be overwhelming to be faced with that much detail. If they're too large, they tend to skew towards being too generic, making it difficult for your players to know what they're looking at. As a long-term dungeon master, Birdie understands that the best maps are large enough to tell a grand tale, yet granular enough to provide for meaningful engagement with your players. Being a DM of 10 years, I'm always looking for any tools that can save me prep time. With Birdie Maps, it's as easy as downloading the file, importing it, and you're ready to run the game. Check them out over at patreon.com/birdiemaps for all your fantasy cartography needs. That's patreon.com/BIRDIEMAPS. Mortal Coil is sponsored by The Shady Sale. From dice cases to minis, hand-painted art to commissions, The Shady Sale has it all. With their new custom color cosplay horns, you can show up to session in style and be the tiefling your table always knew you could be. Need something specific that you can't find anywhere else? Find them on Ko-Fi and ask about custom 3D prints to bring your ideas to the tabletop. We're incredibly proud to announce that you can get your very own custom Necronomulus dice case only at ko-fi.com/theshadysale. This beautiful resin case stores your dice for the drive to the DM's place and absorbs sunlight on the way over, causing it to glow in the dark with the violet fires of undeath. Pick yours up to receive +3 to your spell save DC today. Necronomulus dice case available by manufacturer request only. Sentient spell storing version temporarily unavailable. If you or someone you know purchased one, the whispers in the dark promising power are normal. Talk to your cleric if symptoms persist more than 66 days. Mortal Coil is not responsible for the state of your spell save DCs, attack rolls, saving throws, or class feats. Check with your DM to see if necromancy is right for you. Check out ko-fi.com/theshadysale for any and all TTRPG swag. That's ko-fi.com/theshadysale. Hey folks, just wanted to take a moment to say thanks for watching. All of us at Mortal Coil put hours of work in each week to make this podcast as immersive as possible and build as compelling of a world as we can. If you'd like to support us, you can find us over at patreon.com/DMDM Studios, where you can get access to all of the maps, monsters, and more that we make for this campaign for as low as $3 a month. Peruse our library of art, maps, and tokens for use in your home games. Read our World Anvil archives for whatever ideas you want to use in your setting, and get exclusive behind-the-scenes content like Mortal Forge, our in-depth look at the monsters, mechanics, and math that makes up Mortal Coil. The first 10 patrons to sign up to our $10 a month Lich tier will receive an exclusive Mortal Coil t-shirt, available only to them once these slots are filled, so don't miss out. Thanks again to our listeners. We want to extend a very heartfelt thank you to our sponsors. And now, back to the show. You continue down the path, leading on a sharp decline until eventually you make your way into the deepest part of this ravine. You're on the riverbed, and the smell, Marec, is overwhelming. I need a fortitude saving throw from the two of you. Marec, you're all right. It's not pleasant. It's quite disgusting, actually, but you are able to kind of bite down and stick through the sickening feeling filling your gut. Jasper, the overwhelming odor of the rot, the number of corpses and carcasses that must be decaying down here sickens you. Quite literally. You have the sickened one condition.
I think just the second he gets hit with this smell, he's just gonna, and he's gonna try to get rid of this.
Go ahead and make us another fortitude save after throwing up. No, it's not a critical failure, but it is another failure. You hurl and lose your lunch, but that's it. That sickened feeling stays around. You try to wash the sick out with water, but it still feels thick in your mouth, the saliva still coating your tongue.
Marec will pass his water skin to Jasper.
No, that's...
For later. You're gonna need it.
Thank you. Take it and put it on his satchel. Thought of eating anything makes me feel ill.
Marec's gonna tell him to wait up a sec. Does the smell seem stronger coming from this cave?
It's coming along the current of the river, traveled by the water.
I see. Well, I don't think we can progress down the side here, so we're gonna enter this cave, avoiding those spider webs.
Marec, give me a perception check. You see, faintly, a skeletal hand sticking out from underneath the broken cart, directly to your left. The hand is holding something clenched tight. It looks like a scrap of parchment, and it's got a ring on its finger. It somehow does not seem to be tarnished, even though it looks to be made from iron.
You'll go pick it up.
You pick up the parchment, and you can see that it is the scrap of a journal, a date of which goes back about 24 years. It mentions a journey having gone sour, blaming their caravan leader, and ultimately hoping to find refuge in the bowels of this cave. And they fear, for the safety of their family, that's it. The ring itself is not meticulously fashioned, but it seems to be cold iron, and set into it is a blue gemstone.
I'll just drop the note and say, "Took right in the right direction," and I'll pull the ring off the finger.
It snaps off with a creak.
I just pocket the ring.
Can I have Jasper try to retch at that one more time?
Okay.
All right.
You hurl again, trying to pound water, and you still don't feel any better. You know it's probably going to get worse once you get down into the water, because looking off down the corridor, while Marec is fiddling with the skeleton hand, Jasper, you can see that the cave-in down to the east will not permit access any further.
Oh, we're going to have to wait in there. Oh, lovely. All right, it's fine. I have no idea how you smelled it first, and you're not throwing up with me.
This one worse.
Can I get perception checks from everyone? Jasper, just the sickness is getting to your head, and you are struggling to keep it together, as it were, in regards to not just constantly throwing up and only willingly throwing up to make yourself feel better. Marec, you can hear the sound of a snarl and a growl further from within the cave, down this direction.
Gotcha.
You are quite certain the sound is not the same shrieking growl of the Brighton, but you have also heard something far more sinister, something far deeper that raises the hackles on the back of your neck. You think back to a moment hope dangled hopelessly from the maws of a great creature, and you remember that his fate rests in your hands now. What do you do?
My friend needs my help, and I need to kill this beast to help him. Move forward.
Let's do it.
You continue down, and you see that the river is only 10 feet down from where you are.
I turn back to Jasper. You still have your grappling hook.
I do.
I'm going to firmly embed my grappling hook in the side of the ridge here, and then rappel down in water, and then leave the grappling hook embedded in the side so that we can easily climb back up when we're done.
Down on the river floor, I need another fortitude save from both of you. I'm so sorry. Your sickened condition increases by 1, Jasper.
-2 to all rolls. Let's go.
Marek, you are fine. Even though the stench makes you want to throw up, you don't have to. Jasper, trundling behind, and as your vision swims, you put your hand up against the wall and kind of take a moment to collect yourself. The rot is just overwhelming. Marek, stepping forward quietly, this creature with the wings is bowed down, its head and the crown in reverence, in a mockery of the society of man. That with the lesser crown paying homage through carrion and death to the greater. This beast of darkness, massive in its form. Its posture similar to that of a gorilla in how it's holding its body, its hairy claws attached to this fur that seems to drift off with the current of the river. It lets out this before opening its mouth and tasting. The Frighten waits in anticipation, barely able to contain itself from shuddering, to see the test of its tribute. The dark beast swallows, and the Brighton dares to stick its eyes up. If there is any body language or auditory language exchanged between the two of them, it is not in any manner with which you can perceive. There is simply a second, and the dark beast turns. Its eyes, for a second, ignorant and in pride of itself, turn to the thing it hates the most. The fire in your hand, Marek, the torch burning. It comes to regard you, and these massive black eyes the size of dinner plates split down like a serpent in an instant, and a low growl begins to pass its lips. The dark beast swells in size, and as it looks like it is about to pounce on you and strike Marek, you can hear it open and snap its jaws once, twice, 3 times. It begins to step off, climbing down into the river, and very unenthusiastically, the Brighton stumbles forward, limping on its gashed side leg, one eye missing. It looks down, the sound of wings open. Let's go ahead and roll initiative.
You know, I'm gonna use the hero point and reroll my initiative. I feel like it's gonna be important. That's better.
Brighton is going to go first, folks. Lacking the element of surprise on you and severely crippled from its previous fight with you, it did not have any potions to chuck down or friends to look after it. It spreads its wings wide, and it is going to come soaring directly around here. That is 2 actions for it to move.
Like poetry, it rhymes.
Oh no. 22 damage to you, Marek. You took that numbing tonic, right?
Would be on 1 hit point then.
Oh, this thing really loves dropping people on crits on the first attack in a fight. It really does. This is why it has to die.
It takes flight, comes soaring directly at you. You think it's going to bat at you with its antlers, and then it sinks its fangs into your sword arm. You feel like it's going to rip it out of place, but you bat it away and punch it off. It flew, it attacked, that is its turn. It is Marek's turn.
Marek thinks for a second to himself. He was just gored by this thing, and he thinks back to hope if he doesn't kill this thing, Hope dies. If Hope doesn't survive, Marec can't go back. And that's what sets him off to rage. And now he's going to make an attack with Hawk's short sword.
That is a hit, my friend.
And I will hit it again because that's only one action. That is my turn.
You slash out at the Periton, and you can feel the falchion tear into the side of its face. And when you wrench it free, you try to inflict an additional wound upon it, but it just rips out its teeth instead of continuing to tear down its artery. Jasper, it is your turn.
I figured Jasper was probably leaning against the wall there when he saw the Periton glide across. I'm not even sure he saw the entirety of this interaction. He probably just caught the edge of it. And then he sees this thing glide out from the darkness and clamp onto Marec's arm. Thickness be damned. He knows he's needed. Like, he pushes himself up, grabs his swords, and he's gonna start plunging his way through the water, get to the other side of this thing, and as he naturally flanks this thing, he's gonna bring both his blades laterally, and we're gonna be doing a double strike.
That is a critical hit.
Hey, double crit, let's go! I don't need a mod for that.
Oh my goodness, you got 2 crits in a row?
With near max damage, let's go! I think that this thing, as he sees it clamping down on Marec's arm and recognizes, wait, recognize you? Ooh, little bastard! And he brings his blades up, and the first one, gonna hack one of the wings off, just clear through the thing, almost like a cleaver through a fish. And then as the thing falls to the ground, the other blade's gonna come down and just one right through the thing's neck. Cut it clean off. It was for the shrine. Oh, and he's just gonna sort of sit there and retch for a second.
The creature crumples to the ground in pieces. No more does its shriek echo along these halls. Jasper, you feel invigorated, as if something that was watching you from beyond witnessed what you just did and nodded in approval.
As the thing dies and he feels that sense of approval, he's going to look upwards, take his blade, and hold it up flat above him in the same sword salute that his regiment did.
Watching the ordeal transpire, over in the blink of an eye, and the two of you fighting as wolves, the dark beast tilts its head, opens its gaping mouth, and snaps a single time, emitting a grunt, before sniffing and turning and walking down into the black.
It takes Marec a minute to calm down, but he does eventually.
Moments after the creature has disembarked, the sound of a soft singing, not like musical singing, but metal, resonates off of the stone walls. You can hear it coming from where the Periton was giving its tribute.
On earth is that? Jasper's going to approach it.
So Jasper, you continue on after the sound, climbing the 10 feet up into this little alcove that you can see is positively swollen with carrion, the source of the rot in this area. A particularly choice piece of emulsified fatty meat was chosen for the dark beast, but that is not the only thing that you find here. Most interestingly, what you find is the source of the singing, coming from a small push dagger, about the size of your fist. It's got these guards that come up along the sides, and it comes to a flat end with a singular blade that seems to stick out of the middle. Marec, from where you're standing, the sound that you were hearing fades instantly, just gone, and you don't really think anything else of it. You're looking over this creature and how you might begin to dissect it. But Jasper, it sings even more intensely as you pick it up, and you feel the weight of destiny about this blade. And as you consider just the slightest inkling of will into it, you find with a twitch of your knuckles, the blade separates into 3 separate parts, as if one might strike with it to pierce or slash. Can I get a perception check from you?
I'm gonna re-roll that with a hero point.
Maybe it's the way that it catches the light that's kind of mesmerizing. Maybe it's the pattern that's very finely crafted, as if the person that made this spent who knows how long just on making it pretty beyond its serviceability. There's something to it, but you're not quite sure what it is. The only thing that you're sure of is that the blade itself is made of silver, which normally would probably strike you as not ideal for hurting anybody, at least not in the long term. But when you touch the edge of it, the thickness, just the edge itself, enough to prick your finger. And a small rivulet runs down, filling your palm.
Normally, swords don't call to me. He's going to take the blade, and he's going to probably slide it over his forearm, test the weight, and he's going to sort of put it in the same place where he would normally grab one of his Felissa. And he's going to begin to start scooping the rest of these things as well, slowly putting them into a satchel so we can take it back.
Marek, as soon as the sound ceases, you can hear the sound of splashing in the river, and the quadrupedal Aryan beast comes stumbling down the corridor. Behind him, Uzas, just wading through the water, makes his way around the corner. As he arrives, he does that little hyena laugh.
Wonderful. Are you ready?
Marek, I think, takes off what's left of his ragged shirt at this point and just raises his arms. Do it.
He steps forward, and behind you, you can feel the ends of his furry bristles touching your neck and your head, but with his hand, he reaches behind yours and places it like so. Does Marek react at all?
He stays still.
He whispers,
This might hurt.
as he begins incanting a spell he might have undersold a little bit. It feels like plunging your hand into fire when he takes his behind yours and places it into the breast of this creature, and seamlessly it extends into the chest cavity, which is undamaged, and reaches around. You can feel the coil clench into a fist, very gently and gingerly, extracting the heart of this beast without any means for medicine or surgery. After a long moment, there's this squelching, and it comes free. He steps away from you, and the pain ceases the moment he does so. You are left holding this beast heart in your hand, and you don't need to make a medicine check for this, Marek. You recognize what you're looking at as a human heart.
What have you done?
I have made good on half of my end.
He reaches out with a finger and simply pinches the remaining eye. He's bending down. The head is on the ground behind you.
This one did as it will. I have merely pointed the way, like the one who came before you. Were I a gentler creature, I would have steered this one away from the beast. But strength.
And as he says that, Marek, your blade erupts into his hand in this very gentle black flame that seems to eat the light from your torch.
Is all that matters.
He extends the blade with the eye of this beast in one hand and the sword in the other.
And we see eye to eye. I would not go back on my word.
Marek nods.
Uzas begins chanting, and the second that the words leave his lips, the ground around you erupts in this green, pale light, spiraling out from the position where the two of you stand. The chanting continues, but he stops to say the words,
Place your hands upon the blade.
Gritting his teeth, Marek will take the blade.
With this, our accord is sealed.
the sound of a world being rended, reality trying to enforce its will back. Hairs for the briefest of moments, Marek, endless, abyssal black as far as the eye can see. And then it's over. You're standing, holding your sword. The ground is a river rushing around the two of you, and you can see off towards Jasper, the carrion beast, helping itself to what you can only assume to be a feast in its mind, just going to town. Uzas inclines his head to you once and whispers the words.
So it was wrote, so shall it be. Marec, I am yours now and evermore in this form.
And he taps with a wicked claw on the blade's edge, which you see sparks in a black unlight.
Or another.
His hands go back into the folds of his cloak. He whistles at the carrion beast. And Jasper, it is at this point you have finished gathering up the trinkets. Is there anything you want to say to Uzas before Jasper can hear Marec?
Leave.
Without another word, he bows his head and walks the way you came.
I'll tell Jasper, wrapping the heart up in the ruins of my shirts. I have it. Let's go.
All right, let's go. As he's walking, you would see he has a new dagger on his back.
You would see that I'm not wearing a shirt and that I'm carrying a very bloody ruin of mine.
Pause and look back at you.
His arm is almost completely mended already.
Did you have another poultice in there that I didn't know about?
No.
I think I've had enough weird today. I'll let you have this. And he's gonna start walking.
The two of you exit the ravine and begin making your way back